Hi everybody, welcome back once again to the Eastfield Gunroom YouTube channel with me, Matthew Morgan. If you've just discovered the channel, welcome. If you do like the video, do hit like, do give us a follow, do subscribe because we do appreciate your support. Right, on to today's review. So, regular viewers of the channel will know I'm a big fan of Benelli shotguns, Benelli semi-autos in particular. We haven't looked at many because there's just so many great guns we want to get through and want to show you. But we have previously looked at a model similar to this, which was the Raffaello Supersport. So do check that out. So today's gun is actually a limited edition Benelli. This is an Accademia from about 2019. Now, this is the second in the line of the limited edition Benellis. The first one was built to commemorate the 50th anniversary. It was called, rather cleverly, the Benelli 50th. Then there was the Accademia. Since then, we've had the 500th limited edition, which obviously was to commemorate 500 years, I think, of something to do with one of the artists that Benelli are very, very proud of. And there's been another one since. So this one kind of sits back a couple of years, and this is the Accademia. So, like I've said before on this channel, here in the UK, people don't really think much of spending £3,000, £4,000, £5,000 on a gun to go game shooting, to shoot driven pheasants, driven partridges, whereas a lot of places worldwide, like Italy, for example, very much so America, people like to hunt with semi-autos. So whereas here in the UK, we look at a semi-auto as a pigeon basher or something we want to go out and shoot clays with on a Sunday, they are very much more highly regarded in certain parts of the world, to the point whereby people want to own a pretty semi-auto that's not just functional, that it's something you can take pride of ownership in, you can show to your friends, rather than just being a plastic semi-auto that's covered in crap that you've been thrown in the pigeon hide. And that's the kind of gun we're going to look at today. If you don't know anything about Benellis, where have you been? If you do know about Benellis, you'll know that there are principally two action designs that they have. They have the Montefeltro, or as people refer to it as the M. You've got the M2, the M3, that kind of stuff. And basically what that is all one-piece construction in terms of the action. If you ramp things up a bit in terms of the development and the design, you've got the Raffaello. Now, the Raffaello is the two-piece action, which basically means it's got a lid on it, like a bean can, and you can field strip it, as you would expect with a limited edition high-end semi-auto. Benelli have chosen the Raffaello platform to manufacture this gun on. Very, very basic bits about Benelli. They are inertia-driven semi-auto, and what I mean by that is there is literally a recoil spring in the stock, and that is what soaks up all the recoil. It just works on kinetic energy. Whereas, of course, the likes of Remington, Beretta semi-autos, Browning, which we've looked at before, are all gas operated. So there's a big, big difference. But because of that, they are market leaders, world leaders in inertia semi-automatics. So what we'll do is we'll start, as ever, with the action. What we've got is, like I said, this is a limited edition. This was one of 1,000 pieces. It is individually numbered here. We've got number 945 of 1,000. And then it mentioned the Giovanelli Engraving Studio, which I would imagine are responsible for this fantastic artistry on the action. So talking about the artistry, we have got this fantastic scene featuring ducks. Now, the actual metal itself, obviously it's a steel action. What we've got this brushed finish, which if you buy any Benelli, a Powerbore, a Super Sport, you'll always get that kind of satin-ish brush finish, which I really like. Looks very high-end and very premium. The engraving itself, we have got flighting ducks. We've got one completely picked out in gold, whereas the rest of them have got like gold beaks and gold feet like they're going on a night on the town. We've got some reeds. We've got these sprawling branches. We've got, obviously, which is head Mr. Duck here, might be Daffy. A gold ribbon which goes along the back of the action. And on the other side, we've got some more mountains. Again, a real nice close-up of a mallard, more sprawling branches, looks like my garden in the winter when the goats have eaten everything, a bit more foliage at the bottom, and it's just a really, really nice scene. And it's not what you see on semi-autos. The majority of semi-autos, if they have any engraving on at all, it's always kind of scroll work. It's just very different. It's not what you're used to seeing on a semi-auto. It's a really, really nicely done scene. There's a lot of attention to detail, and this gun has certainly got the wow factor immediately the moment you pick it up. So in order to show you the next bit of the action, we need to take the gun apart. So all I'm going to do is release the bolt release, so the bolt flies forward. Then we're going to pop the fore-end nut off and release the fore-end. Now, like I said, this is Benelli's two-piece field strippable action. This is the Raffaello model. I'm going to show you how that works. So barrel removal, dead easy. Like I say, we've got the lid on top of the action. Now here is the feather in Benelli's cap. Now this is a completely unique design. No other semi-auto manufacturer has ever come up with this or has ever even tried to copy it, to be honest with you. And you literally take the lid off. So what that does is that exposes all the internals of the gun. We've got the bolt here, we've got the bolt release, and you can literally remove that in one piece. It is so clever, it's untrue. So you've got the rat's tail there, rotating bolt head, all the gubbins, and inside you've literally just got the trigger mechanism at the bottom of the action. So the whole reason behind this is, of course, maintenance. There's not a lot going on in terms of the actual stock. It's just the inertia spring. All your bits and bobs are inside there. But the thing is, of course, with a semi-auto is you can't get inside like you can an over and under. You know, it's not as easy to get inside the action. So when you've got a gun that looks as pretty as this, you want to be able to maintain it. And that means getting in all the nooks and crannies. So when you look in there, you can give it a nice bit of lubricant, a nice little bit of oil, and you can see that it's all nice and shiny inside, and all the metal finishes and the quality of the nickeling, etc., continues throughout the gun. So carrying on with the action, we have got the safety catch on the bottom, which of course, as with all semi-autos, is a manual safety catch. You can't have an automatic safety catch on a semi-auto. We've got the nicely shaped trigger guard with this like point on the bottom, a gold trigger, which of course complements all the golden duckies, and that is your carrier on the bottom. On the side of it we have got the proof stamp, which denotes when the gun was made, and also the CIP steel shot stamp as well. Obviously you can see here with the gun disassemble, we've got the magazine tube, and that is the beauty of the Benelli inertia driven system. There is no O-rings, nothing to get fouled up with carbon or crud or deposit. It is literally a magazine tube with a crimp, because of course this is a UK version and it's 2+1 3-shot. So whilst we've got it apart and we're going to talk about the barrel in detail, you'll see that it's got the word best, or BE, with a little diamond and then ST next to that. And what that stands for Benelli's best coating, which is their kind of Cerakote. And because it's so hard wearing, so durable, so impervious to rust, anything that Benelli manufacture with the best coating, be on the top of the action or the barrel, on that particular parts, those components of the gun, they will give you a 25-year manufacturer's warranty, which in itself is amazing. Something else that Benelli are famous for is their cryo barrel technology. And what this means is they take the barrels as part of the manufacturing process and they cryogenically freeze them overnight in freezers colder than you keep your Magnums and your Cornettos in. And what that does is it means that when the barrels then get hot, when they're being used, when they're firing cartridges, that the barrel doesn't move as much, or there's less shot deformation in the patterns and that kind of stuff. Really, really clever stuff, but it's all to do with keeping the science side of it, keeping the molecules of the metal tighter together so they don't expand and contract like normal steel. So apart from the best coating, which you can see is very, very deep gloss, very, very nice, Benelli like to put carbon fibre ribs on a lot of their guns. This one is no different. So we've got carbon fibre with a tram line in the middle and a centre bead. Incidentally, this gun is 28-inch barrels. Thing to remember, if you've got a semi-auto with a 28-inch barrel, it is physically longer than most 30, 31 or even 32-inch over and unders, which why I believe, particularly here in the UK, 28-inch is a bestseller. On this particular model, the Accademia, Benelli incorporate their power bore barrel system. And what that basically means, a bit like the Beretta SL2, we've gone to nominal bore for when everyone's going mad about overboring barrels, 18.4 bore. And then with a longer choke, which we'll look at shortly, they believe that that gives you better ballistics. It's also HP steel shot proofed, and we've got the fleur-de-lis to prove it. At the end of the barrel, we've got the traditional kind of red strip foresight bead, not dissimilar to you get on some of the older Berettas, and to couple with, of course, their cryo barrel technology, they've got their own cryo choke, which is a bit like a Beretta Optima, the original Optima Plus, which has got the thread sort of a third of the way down, which we will look at no doubt when we delve into the box. Obviously with the semi-auto, when it's completely in pieces, it's easy to look at the components of it. So while we've got it apart, we're going to look at the forend. Now I mean, this looks like it's been sapped by a radiator and it's warped, but that's actually the shape of the forend. It's nice and sleek. It's very ergonomic. It feels nice in the grip. We've got some interesting checker in there. You know, I'm not too sure about the style of the checking. It's a bit like a didgeridoo, okay, but it works. Like I said, it's all about, with the Benelli, lightweight, smooth, sleek, because they are at the top of their game. So while we're on the wood, it's difficult to see really the grade from the fore end. If we look at the back end, you can see we've got this very nicely figured piece of, I would imagine, Turkish, certainly European walnut with this pointy checkering, which I quite like. It's got points at either end. The wood itself has got some really nice coloration. It's like a honey colour. We've got some black figure going through it, some nice knots which give it a lot of character. Again, this is a standout gun. It's the kind of gun that when you pull it out of a slip, people are going to go, wow, what's that? So the combination of the high grade wood with, of course, that fantastic game scene with the ducks on just gives it the added wow factor. Now, semi-autos always tend to be a little bit on the short side. So what we've got here, we have got 14.5 inches, which is 370 millimeters. More technology in the back. This is Benelli's progressive comfort system. Now, of course, with an inertia operated shotgun, there's a little bit more movement, there's more kinetic energy. So what they've done is they've come up with this idea, this recoil reduction system, which works a little bit like a fan in terms that it presses against each other and it works well. They use it on the 828 UA over and under. They've used it on a lot of their modern semi-autos. And another nice touch is they've actually done the progressive comfort itself in gold. You can buy a longer pad for this if you wish, if you need a pad extension, which of course the progressive comfort stays in the stock and the pad just goes on the outside. As you would expect, as with all semi-autos, with all Benellis, this comes with the superior shim system, so you can change the cast, the drop, whatever, accordingly to your requirements that you need in terms of gun fit. We've got no palm swell on this gun. It's oil finish, like a satin oil finish. Not too small in the grip as well, because with a gun that's quite slim and dainty, you don't want it to be too small. I've not got massively big hands, but that does feel nice and comfortable, and I think I could shoot that comfortably. Another nice touch from a personalisation point of view, what Benelli did with these, and indeed with all of their limited edition Raffaellos, they gave you this silver pistol grip cap, which can be screwed into the bottom of the pistol grip and ultimately have your initials engraved in, or if you've not got enough ducks, another duck. The checker in itself is laser done. Very nice and grippy, because of course if you're out in all weathers and you're hunting up mountains, you need something that's not going to slide out your hand when you pull the trigger with these great big 36 gram loads in it. Right, so time to put it back together. It is as straightforward as it was to take apart. So you locate the rat's tail, brilliant bit of engineering this is, slide in the bolt into the action, drop it in, just give it a bit of a wibbly wobble to make sure it's in place, get the lid, pop it on, and then it is ready to accommodate the barrel. I should just mention, this is a right-hand eject, as you can see. Benelli do offer left-hand eject models, but you can't get them in the limited editions. We'll put the warped fore end back on, finish it off with the fore end nut, and that is literally seconds to put it back together. You couldn't do that with any other semi-auto in the world, because you'd have to be messing about with pins in the middle of the action, taking the trigger group out, etc, etc. Nice touch here, we've got a highly polished bolt assembly with Benelli inertia system laser engraved onto it as well. In terms of the actual weight of the gun, this is something that really surprised me, because I know that Benellis are usually lightweight because there's no gubbins up here, there's no piston assembly because it's all inertia. It is literally the magazine tube. It is such a clever idea. This actually came out at £6, 8 ounces, so it's really light. I mean, let's not forget its intended usage worldwide is to go out and shoot game with it, so you want something that's light. You can maybe put on a sling. You usually get swivel with these guns, carry up the mountains, etc. But I think at the same time, it's still not super lightweight that you couldn't go clay shooting and stuff like that in the UK. Now, as you would expect with any nice limited edition gun, you get a nice upgrade on the case. This gun is no exception. Before we look in the box, I will just mention, of course, this is a 28-inch gun. They were also available in 30. You tend to find that most limited edition Benelli models usually come in an option of 28 or 30-inch. In the smaller calibers, they have done a 20 bore. It will be 26 and 28-inch. So in the box, we have got this kind of graphite spongy stuff with a nice red piping around the outside. You've seen some book of words. This is like the yellow pages. Look at that bad boy. Absolutely enormous. If there's nothing you don't know about your Benelli when you've read about it in English, German, French and Swahili, you're probably never going to know it. That is a fantastic manual. Very concise, loads of nice coloured pictures. Hats off to Benelli, top drawer. On top of that, we have the Cryo system booklet. We talked about that, about the cryogenically freezing of the barrels. Interesting read. we've got a certificate saying we've got an Accademia limited edition. Now, interestingly enough, because of the way that barrels and actions are made in batches, you'll find that with these guns, they will always have a separate serial number on the barrel to the action. You know, I love a sticker. That's an original sticker from the outside of the cardboard box it was supplied in. Inertia-driven system. I mentioned this before, I think, with the Benelli Supersport. Stick it where you like, you know, stick it on your mobile phone cover. I mean, I think the idea Benelli want you to stick it on the stock, but with respect, Benelli, with such a pretty looking gun, you wouldn't want to ruin it. We also mentioned this gun is a limited edition, one of 1,000 pieces worldwide. This is 945. You get a nice little certificate from Benelli just to confirm this and its authenticity, and of course what the story behind the gun is. We'll roll that back up like an ancient map from Pirates of the Caribbean, which is how it comes. On top of that, we've got some Ben oil, okay, for oiling anyone called Ben. And I mean, a lot of attention to detail. Even with the choke box, we've got a photo of the gun on the front, nicely done. We've got the 4 additional chokes. You get 5 in total. Like I said, there's a long choke, very, very good quality choke system. We've also got some swivels, because again, this gun is designed, or most hunting semi-auto designed to be used high up in the mountains, a lot of walking, a lot of carrying, which is why a lot of Continentals and Americans choose to put them on a sling. You got one of those for the forehead nut, and one, of course, that can be fitted into the stock. Shims for changing the cast and the drop. Shim plates. And of course, we have seen this before. This is the Benelli choke key that actually looks like a Swiss Army knife. Really, really good bit of kit. Nice and strong. But then again, if you really need an over-the-top choke key to get your chokes in and out, you probably haven't had them in and out enough or lubricated them properly. Finally, we've got a couple of spare beads. We've got one in green and one in yellow. So you've got a nice set, like a set of traffic lights. And we talked about the stock, and with the plate that goes in the bottom of the pistol grip for your initials, or the extra duck. And that's just the bit that came in it originally from the factory, which is just an orange thing. And from a presentation point of view, we have got some very, very swanky elasticated barrel and stock socks with Benelli embroidered on them. So like I said, from a presentation point of view, it's a limited edition gun. It's got an upgraded case. We've got the certificate of authenticity. We've got all the bits and bobs in here as well. We've got something I've just spotted, which is about the power bore barrel profile, which what you've got to remember is a lot of shotgun manufacturers will emphasize what they've done to increase this, decrease this, improve that, improve the other. But quite often there's never really anything to back it up. Well, what you've got here, you've got the whole story. You've got all about the barrel technology, all about the recoil reduction, all about the boring. And then again, you've got, on top of that, a very special limited edition, premium quality semi-automatic. If you've got any questions about this particular gun, please do contact me directly. Don't forget to check out the website. If you've enjoyed this video, do hit like, give us a subscribe. And from me and the Quackademia, I'll see you soon.